at that point was like really positive. Like I think I made it clear that I wasn't like 100% sure this was like the man of my dreams and I was going to spend the rest of my life with him or anything, but I was enjoying the time that I was spending with him at that point.
So Nicole Kessinger comes out and says, yes, I was having an affair with him, but I didn't realize that this marriage was still intact. He told me he was in the process of divorcing. He was looking for a place for him and the girls. I didn't know him well, and clearly he kept a lot of secrets from me. That was Nicole's story, and that's pretty much what she told the police, and that's also what she told the media.
That was when I had said, hey, when you go to North Carolina, I really think you should try to fix things with your wife. And he kept asking, well, what about us? And I was trying to kind of take a step back and see if he would fix things before attempting to pursue things with me, because I wanted to know that if all of these things he's saying, like, yes, we're getting separated, and yes, you know, all of these things that he's saying are happening, I wanted to know that it was like, you were doing this like you said you were prior to me coming in your life, and it has nothing to do with me.
It was pretty clear that at the very least, Chris Watts was sexually hooked on Nicole. He called her his sexy empanada. He told police that he had never felt this way about anyone in his life. But here's the greatest deception. Chris Watts tells Nicole that he's such a loyal and dedicated man. He says the only time he's not exactly honest is when they're role-playing, and he puts a winky face after that sentence.
But you weren't here today lying about something else. So we need to talk about that, okay? About your daughter. I know. And this is very good. I'm not proud of it. I didn't think anything like that could happen. I don't think I'd ever do it, but I did. I know. Keep going. But she accused me of it. I denied it. I cheated on her, and I felt horrible for it. She was pregnant, and it was. I don't want. I didn't hurt her. I cheated on her. I hurt her emotionally. I cheated on her. And I feel absolutely horrible about this, but that's what I've been holding. I think that when I didn't go to the Rocky game, I was with her. Okay, I went to dinner with her.
I believe at least most of the motive has to do with his desire to begin a relationship with somebody else. They had marital problems, to say the least, that Shanann oftentimes accused him of being very cold and cut off from the family. We knew that during the time that she was in North Carolina with her girls and her family, that he was going on camping trips to the Great Sand Dunes in southern Colorado, to car museums with his girlfriend in Boulder, to restaurants in the north part of Denver, running up food and meal tabs that were inconsistent with simply one person.
Shanann and the children went to North Carolina for a 6-week vacation. And she told a friend that while she was there in that very first week, that she and Chris were incredibly close. And she claimed that they had a lot of phone sex during that first week. But meantime, as time went by, it turns out that he was deeply and intimately involved with Nicole, having sex regularly, talking about sex regularly, preparing for sex regularly. Nicole even said that in the beginning stages of the relationship, they were having sex 3 to 4 times a day.
6, 8 weeks, 2 months, whatever it was, you guys had an intimate relationship during that time?
Yes.
Okay. So you're pretty serious. Did he ever tell you that he loved you?
Yes, he did.
Did you ever tell him the same?
A couple times.
Notwithstanding that today, because those thoughts may have changed for you, but on, let's go Sunday into Monday or Monday, did you still love him on those days?
I think it was something where it was like I said it a few times and I meant it, but he definitely felt the urge to say it to me a lot more than I did to him, because it was just all very new to me, and it was like, take your time with this. Like, you don't need to like rush that, you know? Like, I remember when he was in North Carolina and he was like trying to patch things up with his wife, and he told me he loved me, and I was like, don't say that to me. Like, please go try to fit, and I mean, and that might even be in the text too, where it's like, don't say those words to me and then go try to make peace with your wife and lay in bed with another woman.
Just before Nicole's final date with Christopher, police say she's on the internet on a site called Pornhub. And what is she looking for? She's looking for information on threesomes, double penetration. So she's preparing for quite the interesting date, it would seem, just on her computer searches.
I think when Nicole says that she thought that he was going through a divorce from his family, I believe that. I think that she's being truthful when she says that. I think that the defendant was a master manipulator, and he told the truth when he needed to, and he told a lie when he needed to.
So the second time I went to that house, I'm not sure what day it was, but it was the weekend of the 14th, just real quick on the way back. And we were there not very long, but that time I saw a picture of his wife and one of his kids. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, she's so beautiful. And I took a step back and I was just like, this man has a gorgeous house. He has beautiful babies. He has a beautiful wife. He has an awesome job. Like, why would he want to leave this? And I remember talking to him about it, and that was the first time that I tried to actually say, what do you think about not separating from your wife? Like, what if you really try to work on this? And he had expressed to me that we've tried to work on this and it's not working, so that is why we're separating.
Nicole was Googling things like, man I'm having an affair with is going to leave his wife, or marrying your mistress, because she was trying to see what the future was going to hold with this guy. She knew that he said that his marriage was over, that he was free to be dating, and that Shanann kind of knew that he was dating, but she didn't clearly believe it 100%, because that's why she did these Google searches. And she had to figure out, where does she stand, what's the future hold, and what should she do?
I'm asking to look at your phone for the purposes we previously discussed, for the text messages and your phone log, and unfortunately the photos that are attached there too. That information is only relative to this investigation. I'm not looking at anything else except for the conversations between you and Chris Watts, and the phone data between you and Chris Watts for phone calls, for times and dates for those phone calls. And then the content of the text messages that are there. And we'll write that specifically down here. Understand that...
I just don't want anybody to get some of those texts. Like, they have nothing to do with this case, and they're just like...
Between you and Chris?
Yes, they're just...
So just tell me what you're...
They're just kind of raunchy.
I think it's extremely important that we be careful not to make judgments about Nicole. There is not a shred of evidence that she was connected to these crimes in any way. And in fact, she is a victim in her own right. She was led to believe that this man was in the midst of a divorce. He did not tell her his wife was pregnant, and when he did, he said it wasn't his child. She had every reason to believe that they had a future.
I'm gonna wake up every day and know that, like, this mom and her unborn child and these two little girls are not around anymore, and it breaks my heart. It is so... And then I have to think about, like, the consequences of his actions and how they affect everybody else. Like, all of these, her family's impacted. My name is about to be, like, slandered for probably a while. I don't know how long it's gonna take to heal, but I would not be surprised if it's gonna be hard to go out in public sometimes for a couple of years. And that really hurts me. I'm just like, this is a horrible, horrible thing. Like, how dare you, you know? And people aren't gonna understand that. You know, they're gonna say, oh, you know, you're the woman that had an affair with this man who took out his whole family. And I take a step back and it's just like, I didn't know.
Her response when she found out from investigators that Shanann and the girls were deceased, I think was a very appropriate response. Her breakdown, if you will, really focused on how in the world could this happen to those little girls.
He's so disgusting. I'm so ashamed of him and everything, and I just... Oh, those little girls. They're so little.
Joseph A. Banks holiday gift